Why do small habits make a big difference? Imagine you're on a plane heading from Los Angeles to New York. If the pilot shifts the nose of the plane just slightly, only 3.5 degrees to the south, you won't land in New York, but in Washington, D.C. Although the change was minor at first, its effect multiplied over time. Here, James Clear begins his main idea. Small changes, if continued, can make a huge difference in your life. The author is not talking about massive revolutions in behavior, but about small, simple steps that can be repeated regularly. For example, if you become just 1% better every day, by the end of the year, you will have improved significantly, more than 37 times better than when you started. But if you get 1% worse every day, over time, your performance will gradually collapse. The idea here is not just about improvement, but about the power of accumulation. Every habit you do today, even if it seems trivial, either brings you closer to a better version of yourself or pulls you away from it. Then, the author explains that habits are not a goal, but an ongoing system. In other words, don't focus on achieving the result, but focus on the process itself. For example, don't aim to read 30 books, but focus on becoming a daily reader. Don't say, "I want to lose 10 kilos," but design your life as if you're a healthy person. James Clear teaches us here that true change doesn't start from the top, but from identity. When you begin to adopt the identity of the person you dream of becoming, the habits you build naturally reflect that identity. Key ideas from the introduction. Improving 1% daily creates a huge long-term difference. Small habits accumulate and shape your destiny. Focus on the system, not the goal. Build your identity through your daily actions.
Chapter 1. The Power of Atomic Habits. In the introduction, we saw how a small change, even just 1%, can lead to a big transformation over time. Now, in this chapter, James Clear takes us deeper into why these small habits possess such great power. He begins with a simple but very important question. Why is it hard to change our lives even when we have the motivation? The answer, according to the author, is that change doesn't happen all at once and suddenly. He compares it to melting an ice cube. Imagine an ice cube in a cold room with a temperature of -5 degrees Celsius. You start raising the temperature to -4 degrees, -3 degrees, -2 degrees, nothing changes. You keep going, -1 degree, 0 degrees, and suddenly, at 1 degree, the cube begins to melt. The temperature changed gradually, but the actual transformation didn't appear until a certain threshold was reached. The same thing happens with habits. You might practice a good habit for weeks and see no results, but suddenly progress appears because it had been accumulating silently. This is what James Clear calls the compound effect of habits. It's the hidden force that builds your life in the background without you noticing. But he warns, because the results aren't immediate, people give up quickly. We go to the gym for a week and see no results, so we quit. We read a book and feel no instant difference, so we feel frustrated. But the author says, success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime heroic actions. 3 levels of change. James Clear presents a very important model. Outcomes, like I want to lose weight, processes, like I will go to the gym 3 times a week, and identity, like I'm someone who cares about their health. Most people focus on outcomes, but real change begins with identity. When you believe you are a person who reads, you'll read every day effortlessly, without resistance. But when you see yourself as a lazy person, every good habit will clash with that internal image. Habits are repeated votes for your identity. Every time you practice a good habit, you're casting a vote for a better version of yourself. Read a page, one vote for the new identity. Went for a walk, another vote. Said no to junk food, a new vote. It's not the single habit that changes you. It's the repetition. Key ideas from this chapter. Big transformations come from small, repeated habits. Habits are like compound interest. They build up and surprise you with their results later. Real change starts from within, from the identity you believe in. Every habit you do is a vote for your future self. In the end, the author invites us to stop obsessing over quick results and to start building small systems repeated daily until they become a part of us. This is the power of atomic habits, simple but capable of the impossible if they continue.
Chapter 2. How your habits shape your identity and vice versa.
Imagine that every habit you perform is not just an action, but a message. Every time you perform a certain habit, you're sending a message to yourself that says, "This is my identity. This is who I am." In the previous chapter, we saw that true change doesn't start with results or even with systems, but with identity. But how is this identity formed? And how do habits reshape it day by day? Here, James Clear introduces us to one of the deepest and most powerful concepts in the entire book. Habits equal identity. Your habits shape your identity, and your identity drives your habits. How is identity formed? James Clear explains that identity is not something fixed that you're born with, but it's formed from accumulated experiences and repeated actions. The more you do something, the more you begin to form an image of yourself through it. If you write every day, you start to see yourself as a writer. If you exercise, even just for a few minutes a day, you start to see yourself as an athletic person. If you commit to reading daily, you begin to see yourself as a cultured reader. You're not born with a fixed identity. You create it, and every habit you perform is evidence of who you are. James Clear says, "The true way to change yourself is not to focus on what you want to achieve, but on who you want to become." Habits change identity through 3 stages. Decision, choosing a new habit, like, "I'll start jogging every morning." Action, committing to that habit again and again. Belief. Over time, you begin to believe that you are someone who jogs every morning. It's no longer just a habit, it becomes a personal identity. And here comes the powerful point. Lasting change doesn't happen when you only change what you do. It happens when you change how you see yourself. Why do most attempts at change fail? Because most people start from the outside in. I want to lose weight, so they go to the gym. I want to read more, so they buy lots of books. But they don't change how they see themselves. I still see myself as lazy. I still believe I'm not a reader type. The result? They quit after a short while because they crash into their old identity. That's why the author invites us to a different approach. Start from the inside, from who you are, and let actions flow from that image. Real change equals building a new identity. Every time you perform a habit, ask yourself, does this action align with the person I want to become? You want to be a reader? Read 1 page today. You want to be productive? Turn off your phone and start a small task. You want to be healthy? Just walk for 10 minutes. You don't need to change your entire self in one day. All you have to do is reinforce the identity you want again and again, habit by habit. A powerful example from the book. James Clear tells the story of 2 men trying to quit smoking. Both were offered a cigarette. The first said, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." The second said, "No thanks, I'm not a smoker." Notice the difference. The first still sees himself as a smoker, but he's resisting. The second changed his identity, so he refused the cigarette with ease. This is the difference between changing an action and changing an identity. Practical examples of building identity through habits. Identity you want to adopt. Supporting small habit. I'm an athletic person. Just put on workout clothes. I'm a reader. Read 1 page a day. I'm productive. Start the day with 1 small task. I'm disciplined. Wake up at the same time each day. The message? Let the small habit be proof of your new identity. Key ideas from Chapter 2. Habits don't just change your behavior, they shape your identity. Every small action is a vote for who you are. Lasting change begins from within, from your identity, not your goals. A new identity isn't acquired through words, but through repeated actions. Chapter summary. If you want to change your life, don't start with a list of goals. Start with one simple but deep question. Who is the person I want to become? Then, prove that identity with small actions day after day. Because every habit, no matter how small, is a step toward building the self you dream of becoming.
Chapter 3. How to build better habits in 4 simple steps.
Where do habits come from? After understanding in the previous chapter how habits affect your identity, we now arrive at a practical question. How are habits formed in the first place? And why are some hard to break or build? James Clear walks us step by step to show that habits are not mysterious forces that appear out of nowhere, but a system, one that follows a predictable pattern made up of 4 repeating stages in every habit, whether good or bad. Refresh the habit loop. 4 steps. Cue, craving, response, reward. This is the engine of habit. It runs in the background all the time, even when we don't notice it. Let's understand it through a simple example. Morning coffee. Cue. You wake up and smell the aroma of coffee. Craving. You feel the urge for energy and alertness. Response. You make a cup of coffee and drink it. Reward. You feel energized, and your brain links this feeling with coffee. Over time, this turns into a habit. You no longer need to think about drinking coffee. Your brain does it automatically. Habits are brain shortcuts. The brain loves efficiency. The more you repeat a behavior, the more your mind automates it, turning it into a habit so you don't need to consciously think about it again. That's a huge benefit. Imagine needing to concentrate every single time you drive your car. You'd be exhausted. But it's a double-edged sword. The same system that helps you form good habits also allows bad ones to root. The 4 laws of behavior change. James Clear presents a smart strategy for designing habits using what he calls the 4 laws of behavior change. To build a good habit, 1. Make it obvious. 2. Make it attractive. 3. Make it easy. 4. Make it satisfying. To break a bad habit, 1. Make it invisible. 2. Make it unattractive. 3. Make it difficult. 4. Make it unsatisfying. Step 1. Cue. Make it obvious. Every habit starts with a cue. For example, you see a book on the table and remember to read, or you hear your phone's notification and check the message. If you want to form a new habit, make the cue extremely obvious. Want to drink more water? Put a bottle on your desk. Want to exercise? Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Your mind reacts to your environment, so design your environment to support your habits. Step 2. Craving. Make it attractive. Every habit is driven by a craving. No one repeats a habit unless it brings some kind of benefit. Even bad habits offer a momentary reward. To build a new habit, connect it with something enjoyable. For example, listen to a podcast you love only while walking. Or read a fun, easy book before moving on to heavier topics. You can also use a technique called habit stacking. After I do current habit, I'll do new habit. For example, after drinking coffee, I'll read 1 page. After brushing my teeth, I'll do a breathing exercise. Step 3. Response. Make it easy. The brain loves ease. The easier a habit is, the more likely you'll stick to it. Don't aim for the perfect habit. Start with a simple one. Want to start working out? Do just 2 minutes at first. Want to write? Start with 1 sentence. Start small. The value of a habit isn't in its size, it's in its consistency. Step 4. Reward. Make it satisfying. For a habit to stick, it must make you feel good right after doing it. The human brain seeks immediate rewards. If a habit doesn't satisfy you, you'll drop it. For example, after finishing a task, enjoy a cup of your favorite tea. Or put a check mark on your calendar each day you succeed and enjoy watching your progress. Small rewards create a feeling of success, and this fuels momentum. Key takeaways from Chapter 3. Every habit is made of cue, craving, response, reward. The brain repeats actions that give it immediate rewards. To build a good habit, make it obvious, attractive, easy, and satisfying. To break a bad one, do the exact opposite. Chapter summary. Habits aren't random, and they're not outside your control. They are a system, and you can deconstruct and rebuild that system however you want to. Once you understand how habits are built using this 4-step model, you gain a powerful key to transforming your life, step by step, habit by habit.
Chapter 4. Clear Cues. In this chapter, James Clear begins to break down the first law of habit formation. Make the habit obvious. But he doesn't just talk about the habit itself. He focuses on the cue, the moment before the action, the spark that triggers the behavior. Let's dive in. Why do we need clear cues? Every habit begins with a cue, whether you're aware of it or not. Your brain doesn't randomly decide to act. Something always comes first: a scene, sound, place, person, or time of day. Cues are the triggers that launch the habit loop. Examples: hearing a phone notification, you instantly check it. Walking into the kitchen, you automatically open the fridge. Seeing a book, you remember to read if it's a habit for you. But here lies the problem. If the cue isn't obvious, the habit won't start. That's why James Clear invites us to design our environments and routines to make cues impossible to miss. Awareness before change. The first step to changing your habits is to notice them. Many people want to change their habits, but they don't even know what they actually do every day. So the author suggests a simple yet powerful exercise: the habit scorecard exercise. Take a piece of paper and write down every action you take from the moment you wake up until you sleep. Example: wake up, check your phone, go to the bathroom, drink coffee, open email. Next to each one, mark X if it's a good habit, X if it's a bad habit, or W if it's neutral. You'll be shocked by how many habits happen on autopilot. Once you see them, you can begin to change them. Strategy: habit stacking. This is one of the most powerful tools for building new habits. It's simple. Attach your new habit to an existing one. Examples: after drinking coffee, I'll read 1 page. After brushing my teeth, I'll meditate for 3 minutes. After Maghrib prayer,
I'll review an English lesson. You're not starting from scratch. You're stacking a new habit on top of a current one. The result? The cue becomes clear and automatic. Strategy: environment design. James Clear emphasizes that your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior, not just willpower. For example, want to read more? Put the book in plain sight, on your pillow, your desk, or beside your tea. Want to watch less TV? Take the batteries out of the remote. Want to eat healthier? Put fruit where you can see it and hide the junk food. Don't fight temptation, just remove it from your environment. Your brain responds to what it sees, not what you intend. Practical summary: how to create clear cues. To read daily, place your book on your bed or table. To walk after work, put your walking shoes by the door. To drink more water, keep a water bottle next to you at all times. To meditate in the morning, place your cushion in the middle of the room. The idea? Make the cue visible, ready, and impossible to ignore. Key takeaways from Chapter 4. Habits start with cues. Most of them are unconscious. To control your habits, you must first notice them. Use the habit scorecard to track your routines. Use habit stacking to attach new habits to existing ones. Design your environment to make good cues obvious and easy to act on. Chapter summary. The cue is the gateway to habit, so make it obvious. If you want to change your life, don't rely only on willpower, rely on your environment design. Make your cues crystal clear and leave nothing to chance. Because every time you see the cue, it triggers the behavior and brings you one step closer to becoming the person you want to be.
Chapter 5. Deepening the First Law. Make it obvious. This chapter builds directly on what we explored earlier about the first law of habit formation. Make it obvious. But now, James Clear takes us a step deeper into precision and planning. He begins with a powerful question. How many times have you said, "I'll start a new habit," but never followed through? I'll start working out next week. I'll read every night before bed. I'll stop wasting time on my phone. What usually happens? The excitement fades and the habit never even starts. Why? Because your intention was too vague. The solution: implementation intention. James Clear introduces a powerful tool to break this cycle. An implementation intention is simply a specific plan that says when, where, and how you'll perform a habit. The more clear and specific your intention, the more likely you are to stick with it. The magic formula for habit building: I will behavior, at, time, in, location. Examples: I will meditate for 5 minutes at 7 a.m. in the living room. I will read 1 page after lunch on the couch. I will review English vocabulary every night at 9 p.m. in the study. Why is this so effective? Because it removes the decision-making process. You've already decided. Your brain doesn't need to choose if or when. This reduces hesitation and creates clarity. Brain hates vagueness. When you say, "I'll start later," your brain receives a vague signal. There's no time, no place, no action. But when you say, "I'll do X at Y time in Z location," you send your brain a clear internal cue. Clarity equals motivation power. Combine with habit stacking, 2 tools in one. Clear suggests combining this method with the habit stacking strategy from the previous chapter. Example: after I finish my coffee, existing habit, I will do 1-minute breathing exercises on the balcony. New habit plus time and location. Now you're not just forming a habit, you're creating a chain reaction system. Scientific proof: the power of implementation intentions. The author cites a British study on exercise habits. Participants were divided into 3 groups. Group 1 simply recorded how often they exercised. Group 2 received motivational info about the benefits of exercise. Group 3 wrote an implementation intention, e.g., I will exercise on Monday at 5 p.m. at X gym. Results? Groups 1 and 2 had about 35% adherence. Group 3, a stunning 91% stuck with it. The only difference, writing a clear implementation intention. Practical summary. Implementation intention. Define the behavior plus time and location exactly. Reduce hesitation. Don't wait to feel ready. Build a preset plan. Write your habit down. Post it somewhere visible, e.g., fridge, desk, or mirror. Combine strategies. Implementation plus habit stacking equals a reliable habit system. Chapter takeaway. People don't fail to change because of weak willpower. They fail because of vague plans. When you write your intention in detail, you send a clear signal to your mind, mentally and behaviorally shape your environment, remove hesitation from the process. And that's exactly what we need to begin and keep going.
Chapter 6. Motivation is overrated. Environment is the real driver. In this chapter, James Clear presents one of the most powerful truths that transforms how people think about habits. We don't just respond to motivation, we respond to context. Your surroundings, the room, the people, the objects you see shape your habits far more than you realize. In other words, if you want to change your habits, change your environment. Why motivation isn't enough. Many believe that building a new habit depends on motivation. I'll wait until I feel excited. I'll start when I'm mentally ready. But the truth is, motivation is inconsistent. Environment is stable. In the moments when you're tired, busy, or distracted, willpower won't save you, but a well-designed environment will gently steer you toward the right action without requiring effort. Your environment shapes your behavior, not your mood. Imagine 2 rooms. Room 1, a table with an open book, a cup of tea, and soft lighting. Room 2, a loud TV, a phone buzzing next to you, fast food wrappers. Which room nudges you to read? Behavior doesn't come from what you want to do. It comes from what's in front of you. That's why Clear says, don't just build good habits, build an environment that supports those habits. Habits are tied to context, not desire. The human brain learns by associating places with behaviors. Each time you do something in a certain place, that location becomes a cue to repeat the same action in the future. Examples. If you eat in front of the TV, just turning on the TV becomes a signal to eat. If you work from bed, your brain starts to associate your bed with stress instead of sleep. If your desk is only used for studying, simply sitting down primes your mind for focus. A place doesn't just hold furniture, it holds your repeated behaviors. How to use environment to your advantage. Number 1. Assign one space for each habit. Read in one specific spot. Work only in a space dedicated to work. Sleep in a place you use only for rest. This is called contextualizing behavior. The more your spaces are separated, the less mental resistance you'll feel, and the more automatic your behavior becomes. Number 2. Change the cues you see daily. Place a book on your pillow to encourage reading before bed. Put workout gear near the door to motivate daily walking. Remove distracting apps from your home screen. You're redesigning your cue system so that the environment nudges you toward the habit. Your environment makes a habit easy or hard. Environment that supports action. Book on the table,
workout clothes laid out, water bottle on your desk. Environment that hinders action, book hidden in a drawer. Gear buried in a closet, no water in sight, have to go find it. James Clear emphasizes you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, and your environment is the heart of that system. A practical example. Instead of saying, "I'll try to read every day," design your space so it says, "This is a place where reading happens." Let your room speak for you. Let the objects around you pave the way instead of relying on inner strength every single time. A key principle. Change your environment, your behavior will follow automatically. Your environment doesn't have to be perfect. Even small changes, like displaying the right cue and hiding temptations, make a big difference. Chapter summary. Motivation is unreliable. Environment has more influence. The brain responds to visible and physical cues around it. Design your space to support the behavior you want. Assign one place for each habit to reduce mental conflict. Make good habits obvious and bad habits hard to access. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, and your environment is the heart of that system.
Part 3. Make it attractive. The second law of habit formation. Chapter 8. How to make a habit irresistible. After learning how to make a habit obvious in the previous part, it's now time to learn how to make it attractive, because clarity alone isn't enough. Habits aren't built on just what we see, but on how we feel about them. Here, James Clear introduces a powerful insight. Every habit begins with a cue, but it's the attractive habits that we are drawn to and want to repeat. The question now becomes, how do we make a habit attractive enough to keep doing it? 1. A habit is a promise of future pleasure. The brain isn't excited by the action itself, but by the pleasure it expects to follow. We aren't drawn to the habit. We're drawn to the reward we associate with it. No one enjoys going to the gym. They want the fit body, the energy, the self-confidence. No one loves cleaning. They want the peace and order afterward. So, if you want to stick to a habit, connect it with a positive emotion. Make it irresistible. 2. Craving is stronger than the action. Clear explains that the desire to act is often more powerful than the action itself. The human brain is wired for anticipation. When you see a delicious meal, dopamine spikes before the first bite. When you're about to watch a movie you love, you feel excitement before it begins. In short, habits begin in the brain before they begin in the body. Clear emphasizes the role of dopamine, the expectation and reward hormone, in driving repeated habits. A fascinating experiment. Scientists trained rats using a sound cue followed by a sugar reward. Eventually, the sound alone triggered a dopamine release, even before the sugar appeared. Humans react the same way. Hear a notification sound? Feel curiosity or joy. See your favorite restaurant's logo? Feel hunger instantly. See a book you love? Feel motivation. In short, how can you associate the habit you want with feelings that drive you to act? 3. The secret is in repackaging. James Clear shares a smart strategy. Don't change the habit, change how you present it to your brain. This is known as temptation bundling. Combine a habit you need to do with one you already enjoy. Examples. Love listening to podcasts? Do it while walking or cleaning. Like coffee? Pair it with reading a personal growth book. Like YouTube? Use it as a reward after exercising or studying. This way, the brain doesn't see the habit as a boring task, but as a chance for pleasure during achievement. 4. Social environment creates attraction. Habits are socially contagious. If your friends read often, you'll see reading as normal. If they exercise regularly,
you'll feel like joining. Clear points out, we don't imitate others randomly. We imitate those close to us, those we admire, those we want to belong to. So, surround yourself with people who already live the habits you want. Curate your social feed to support your desired habits. How to make a habit irresistible in practice. Associate habit with pleasure. Visualize the rewarding outcome ahead of time. Pair pleasure with obligation. Listen to something you love while doing the new habit. Reframe how you see it. Don't say, I have to work out. Say, I get energy from it. Surround yourself wisely. Find a group or friend who shares the habit. Chapter summary. A habit isn't built by the action itself, but by the feeling we associate with it. Make one daily habit more attractive by linking it to a reward, wrapping it in fun, doing it in a socially motivating space. If you do that, you won't need to force motivation anymore. Your brain will crave the habit before your body even moves.
Chapter 9. The Power of Social Imitation. In this chapter, James Clear opens a fascinating window into how we shape our habits based on the people around us. We often think our decisions are personal, but in truth, much of our daily behavior reflects the environment we live in. People don't learn habits just from books, but from society, from family, from friends, from role models and celebrities, from anyone we aspire to be like. We imitate constantly, without even realizing it. Humans are social creatures, and our evolution depended on learning through imitation. Have you started caring about health because your friends did? Started reading because people around you do? Felt motivated to succeed because your colleagues are improving? James Clear says, belonging comes first, behavior follows. 1. We imitate those closest to us. Habits spread rapidly within families, classrooms, and workplaces. Examples. If your family eats quickly in front of the TV, you'll likely do the same. If you live with someone who wakes up early and exercises, that becomes your new normal. Lesson. Surround yourself with people who already are what you want to become. 2. We imitate the majority. Our brains are wired to ask an invisible question. What are people around me doing? We tend to follow the crowd because the brain associates it with social safety. If you see your coworkers arriving early, you will start doing it too. If everyone at the gym is working hard, you'll feel motivated to match them. The key insight: the more common a habit is in your group, the more attractive it becomes. We imitate those we admire. We love to copy. Influencers we respect, leaders in our field, even successful friends we admire. If your role model wakes up early and gets things done, your brain says, I want to be like them. I'll start doing what they do. We don't just imitate habits, we imitate the identity behind them. How to use social imitation to build better habits. 1. Join a group that aligns with your identity. Find a community that loves reading like you do, cares about fitness, strives for personal growth. You don't have to meet them in person. A Facebook group, YouTube channel, or even one dedicated friend is a great start. 2. Make the desired behavior normal around you. The more familiar a behavior is in your environment, the easier it becomes. Want to start journaling? Then share your progress with a group. Want to eat healthier? Then follow influencers who talk about nutrition. Want to learn a language? Then surround yourself with people and content in that language.
Inspiring example. A young man struggled with procrastination and couldn't stick to any habit. All he did was join a small group of 3 friends who shared weekly goals and supported each other. In just 3 months, he started exercising, reading regularly, and reduced his phone use. His internal motivation didn't change. His environment did. Chapter summary. We imitate those around us. Close relationships? Choose your circle wisely. The majority. Make your desired habit feel normal. Role models. Follow people who embody who you want to become. The best habits come from the best environments. If you want a new habit, change who you imitate. Chapter 10. How to reprogram your brain to expect habits. In this chapter, James Clear dives deep into the brain to explain how we can smartly rewire our minds to make good habits automatic and bad ones less appealing. If you've ever asked, why do I keep repeating habits I don't want? Why is it so hard to stick to good habits? The answer begins in the brain, with expectation. Every habit begins with expectation. The brain doesn't wait for pleasure to occur in order to reward you. Instead, it starts releasing dopamine, the feel-good hormone, when it expects pleasure. Examples. Seeing a cup of coffee in the morning triggers relaxation before you drink it. Laying out your workout clothes sparks motivation before exercising. Knowing your favorite show is about to start creates excitement before it begins. Key insight. The brain doesn't distinguish between the act and the expectation. So if you change your expectations, your behavior changes too. Habits carve paths in the brain. With repetition, a habit becomes like a highway in your brain. The more you travel it, the faster and easier it becomes. Stop using it, and the road begins to fade. This is called neural pathways. So, your current habits equal old expectations. Your future habits depend on reprogramming those expectations. How to reprogram your brain. 1. Link the habit to a strong, clear reward. Don't wait to feel like it. Train your brain to expect a positive feeling immediately after the habit. Examples. After reading 5 pages, enjoy your favorite tea. After working out, play your favorite song. The more emotional pleasure you associate with the habit, the more likely your brain will want to repeat it. 2. Use conscious repetition. Repeating a habit isn't enough. You must notice its positive effects every time. Don't say, I just exercised today. Say, I felt more focused and confident after, and that's amazing. This way, your brain starts to expect those good feelings, and the habit becomes naturally attractive. 3. Change what you expect from bad habits. The brain often expects rewards from bad habits, but those rewards are shallow or short-lived. Examples. Mindless eating. Your brain expects comfort, but the result is guilt or sluggishness. Scrolling your phone for hours. The brain wants entertainment, but you end up distracted and stressed. The fix? Reprogram your brain to focus on the true consequences, not the temporary pleasure. Tell yourself, delaying work now will stress me later. Fast food now equals long-term fatigue and regret. Mental exercise. Rewrite the story. James Clear offers a powerful tool. Whenever facing a habit, ask, what story is my brain telling me, and is it even true? Example. Story. I need sweets to feel better. Reality. Comfort lasts minutes, guilt lasts hours. Rewrite it positively. I want to feel better. I'll take a walk, drink cold water, or do deep breathing. Chapter summary. The brain doesn't respond to the habit itself. It responds to what it expects from it. Change the expectation equals change the behavior. The formula? Link habits to strong emotional rewards. Be aware of their positive effects. Reveal the lies your brain tells you about bad habits, and you reprogram your entire mental system. Our habits are the result of the expectations we've planted in our minds. And if you want to change your behavior, start by changing what your brain expects from that behavior.
Part 4. Make it easy. The third law. Chapter 11. Make the habit easy to start. Picture this. Someone begins the new year full of motivation, creating the perfect plan. An hour of exercise every day, a book every week, journaling every night. A few days pass, and that motivation fades. The plan collapses. Why? Were they lazy or weak? No. The real problem was they started too hard, not too easy. Here's the golden lesson from this chapter. If you want to build a habit, make it so easy you can't say no. Target is not the result, it's showing up. James Clear explains how people fall into the trap of big ambitions. I'll work out for an hour every day. I'll read 50 books this year. I'll write a novel in 1 month. But these promises often collapse because we tried to run before we learned to walk. The better way? Start small, then repeat. The 2-minute rule. Simplicity is power. One of the most powerful ideas in this chapter is the 2-minute rule. Every habit should start with a version that takes less than 2 minutes. Practical examples? Want to read? Read 1 page. Want to exercise? Put on your sneakers and walk for 2 minutes. Want to write? Open the document and write 1 sentence. Want to declutter? Tidy your desk for 2 minutes. These may seem insignificant, but as the author explains, these are not the goals, they're the gateways. Start with easy, and bigger behaviors will follow naturally. Habits begin with identity, not results. Earlier chapters taught us every habit shapes your identity. When you do something small, like reading 1 page, you're sending a message to your brain. I'm the kind of person who reads. This identity cue becomes stronger with repetition until the habit is no longer a task. It becomes part of who you are. Don't build the perfect habit. Build a repeatable one. The author says it clearly. Don't aim to do a lot in the beginning. Aim to do something you can do consistently. Don't start with a strict diet. Start with a glass of water each morning. Don't aim for 50 pages. Start with 1 page per day. Don't write for an hour. Start with 1 minute. Repetition is greater than perfection. A small habit repeated is more powerful than a perfect plan abandoned. Pro tip: repetition comes before mastery. Many ask, how do I become good at a new habit? The answer? Be consistent before you try to be excellent. Don't try to read faster or lift more weight right away. First, show up. Then, improve. Repetition lays the foundation. Mastery follows naturally. Chapter summary. Don't wait for the mood or motivation. Just start small. Use the 2-minute rule to begin any habit easily. Focus on consistency, not quantity. Every repetition is a vote for your new identity. Habits are not a race, they're a chain of small, repeated steps. This chapter reminds us the secret isn't hard work, it's starting small, again and again. Chapter 12. The Law of Least Effort. Let's imagine a simple situation.
You have two paths to reach the same destination. The first is straight, smooth, shaded, and easy to walk. The second is rough, long, filled with rocks and holes. Which one will you choose? Of course, the easier one. And that's exactly what James Clear points out. The human brain is wired to choose the path of least resistance. This is the root of how habits are formed. Habits form through ease, not intention. Many people think good habits come from strong willpower or discipline, but in reality, most habits, whether good or bad, are shaped by how easy they are. You eat fast food because it's easy to get. You scroll your phone mindlessly because it's one tap away. You procrastinate because opening YouTube is easier than opening your work file. The law of least effort. This chapter introduces a simple but powerful idea. We tend to choose behaviors that require the least amount of effort, especially at the moment of decision. And here's where environment makes a difference. If the good habit is hard to access and the bad habit is easy, guess what you'll choose? Change your environment and change your habits. Instead of trying to force yourself every time, change your surroundings so the right action is the easiest one. Examples: put a book on your pillow. You'll read before sleeping. Remove distracting apps from your home screen. You'll scroll less. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. You'll remember to exercise. Keep a full water bottle on your desk. You'll drink more. Clear says, don't make success hard. Make it the default behavior in your environment. Smart design, greater than sheer willpower. Rather than relying on discipline, ask yourself, how can I make the good habit easier? How can I make the bad habit harder? Simple tricks. Keep fruit visible and candy hidden. Use an app blocker after a certain hour. Lay out your workout clothes the night before. Automate tasks. Use timers, reminders, or scheduled routines. Clear puts it best. A good habit becomes automatic only when it's the easiest choice in the moment. Make your habits slide. The author suggests designing habits to feel like they're on a slippery slope. No friction, no resistance. Instead of saying, I'll read an hour daily, leave the book in plain sight and start with just 5 minutes. Instead of saying, I'll do intense workouts, create a space where working out is friction-free. Every barrier you remove equals one step closer to success.
Chapter 13. How to use the never miss twice rule to avoid collapse. Imagine someone committed to a new habit. He started reading every day for a week, 2 weeks, a month. But suddenly, an emergency arises, or a busy day, and he stops. The first day, no problem. The second day, if he's not careful, he might lose the momentum he built. Here comes a golden rule that changes everything. X, never miss twice. The idea is simple, but very powerful. James Clear says we are human, not robots. It's natural to make mistakes, to get tired, to forget sometimes. But the most important thing is not to be perfect, but to come back quickly. Failing once doesn't destroy the habit, but failing twice in a row is the beginning of collapse. Don't let a stumble turn into a setback. Let's see 2 examples. Scenario 1. A tiring day, you didn't read. The next day, you admit that and read even just 1 page. The habit stayed alive. Scenario 2. A tiring day, you didn't read. The next day, you say, I missed yesterday, It's all ruined now. And here, the decline begins. This is the essence of chapter 13. Habits suffer when we turn a small slip into a chain of falls. How do you apply the never miss twice rule? Plan for hard days before they come. For example, if I get too busy, I'll read just one page. Or if I travel, I'll work out for just 5 minutes in the hotel. Forgive yourself quickly, then return immediately. Don't play the role of the judge, but the reformer. Make the habit flexible, not rigid. Don't say, I must write 500 words every day. But I'll write something, even if just a sentence. Habits are built through repetition, not perfection. In this chapter, the author focuses on an important point. Successful people are not perfect, but quick to resume. Meaning, the professional athlete doesn't train with the same strength every day, but he doesn't stop for days. The successful writer doesn't write daily with inspiration, but he doesn't allow 2 consecutive days of emptiness. The secret is never miss twice. Don't let your mind believe that the habit is over. Chapter summary. There is no perfect human. Even the best people make mistakes or miss a day. The never miss twice rule protects the habit from total collapse. The goal is not to be perfect, but to return quickly after a break. Simple repetition is better than perfection attempts that collapse. Maintain the momentum, even with a small step, because falling twice is the beginning of a bad habit. And so, we have understood one of the most important keys to maintaining long-term habits: to be flexible, quick to resume, and not allow a simple interruption to turn into a negative habit.
Chapter 14. How to maintain habits consistently. The rule of immediate reward. Imagine that you planted a plant. On the first day, nothing. In the first week, almost nothing. After long weeks, you start to see the first sprouts. But if there were no small immediate reward at the beginning, would you have continued to care for it every day? Here comes the central idea of this chapter. A habit continues when it is satisfying in the present, not just useful in the future. Why do most good habits fail? Because they provide delayed rewards. For example, exercise equals long-term health, but fatigue now. Reading equals future knowledge, but mental effort today. Saving equals future financial security, but deprivation now. And on the other hand, bad habits often have immediate rewards. Eating sugar, pleasure now. Browsing the phone, entertainment now. Delaying work, temporary comfort. Here lies the problem. Our brain loves immediate rewards more than delayed ones. The law of immediate reward, the cardinal rule of behavior change. James Clear says, we repeat actions that reward us and avoid actions that punish us. Therefore, for the habit to continue, it must be linked to something that satisfies us immediately after doing it. How to apply immediate reward? The author suggests simple and practical methods. 1. Create a direct reward system. For example, every time you read a chapter, drink your favorite coffee. After finishing a workout, watch a video you like. After completing a daily habit, put a check mark in your schedule. The goal: link the action with a quick feeling of success. 2. Track the habit. Habit tracking. This is one of the strongest psychological methods for motivation. Every time you mark your calendar, your brain sends a message. Well done! You're winning! This simple visual reward makes it easier to continue. Habit plus reward equals continuity. The habit is not complete without 3 elements: motivation,
Why do I do it? Repetition. How do I make it easy? Reward. How do I make it satisfying? Without the reward, the brain feels like the habit is a burden. With only a simple reward, it becomes satisfying. The reward must be linked to the behavior. Very important that the reward is not harmful, meaning don't reward yourself with a cake after every workout. Directly linked to the good habit. For example, don't say, I will reward myself by buying something expensive after a week. Instead, let tracking the habit be the reward itself. Repeating, the reward builds psychological momentum. When you see a chain of achievements like check, 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 you don't want to break it, and this gives you a sense of progress and strengthens internal motivation. James Clear says, visual progress is a type of reward. Chapter summary. Good habits continue when they are satisfying now, not just beneficial later. Your brain repeats what it is rewarded for. Tracking the habit or linking it to a small reward enhances continuity. Make your success clear and tangible every time you perform the habit. Make the good behavior satisfying and you'll repeat it. Make the bad behavior hard and you'll avoid it. Thus, we have understood the fourth law for building lasting habits. Make it satisfying, because the positive emotions after the action are what embed the behavior in the subconscious mind.
Target Part 5. Make it satisfying, the fourth law. Chapter 15. The power of immediate rewards, habit tracking, and accountability. In this chapter, James Clear continues what he started in the previous chapter. He had explained the importance of immediate reward in building a strong habit. Here, he presents two very simple yet extremely effective tools to enhance that reward: habit tracking and accountability. 1. Habit tracking, the power of a small mark on the calendar. James says one of the simplest ways to make a habit satisfying is to record it. Why is this so effective? Because we love seeing progress. Every time you place a V or color in a square in your chart, you feel like you've accomplished something, and your brain releases a feeling of instant satisfaction. And just like that, the small mark on paper becomes a powerful reward. Why does tracking a habit change your behavior? Because it makes you more aware of what you're doing, more committed because you don't want to break the chain, more excited to see the visual improvement. It's like a game. You want to win every day, and you don't want to break your streak of victories. James calls this, don't break the chain. How to track a habit effectively. Simply, habit, daily tracking method. Reading, check mark after finishing a chapter. Exercise, shading a box in a chart. Writing, logging the number of words. Healthy eating, recording the number of healthy meals. Choose a very simple system that doesn't exhaust you. If habit tracking becomes complicated, you will quit. The goal is not perfection, but consistency. But be careful. Tracking a habit does not equal doing the habit. Sometimes people become obsessed with recording more than with doing. James warns, the goal is the action, not the symbol. Don't let tracking replace the habit. Tracking is a service to the mind, not a performance. 2. Accountability. How to force yourself to stay committed. Imagine you promised a friend you'd go to the gym together every morning. On a lazy day, is it easy to cancel? No, because someone is expecting you. This is what the author calls an accountability agreement. How to create a simple accountability system. Find a partner, friend, colleague, life partner. Agree with them on the habit you want to stick to, the number of times to do it, the method of follow-up, message, call, photo. Example, I'll send you a daily screenshot from my app showing I read 20 pages. Having someone else monitor you increases your commitment dramatically. Why? Because we don't like breaking promises in front of others. A great example from the author. Someone wanted to commit to writing a book. He made a deal with a friend. If he didn't send a certain word count each week, he would pay a financial penalty. The result? He finished the book on time. Chapter summary. Tracking daily habits boosts the feeling of progress. The reward doesn't have to be big. It could just be a V in a notebook. The "don't break the chain" system motivates continuation. Accountability adds a social dimension that increases seriousness and commitment. Find a simple reward system and a motivating accountability structure. With this, we have completed the fourth law, make it satisfying. It is the final step in the system of the 4 laws of behavior change. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying.
Part 6, Advanced Tactics, Chapter 16, How to Stick with Good Habits Every Day, the Never Miss Twice Rule. In this chapter, James Clear shifts from building habits to protecting them from falling apart. Because the truth is, we will all miss a habit someday, but the key is, never miss twice. Why do we sometimes fail to stay consistent? The author explains that breaking a habit doesn't mean you've failed. It means you're human. You will have busy days, sick days, stressful moments, or even lazy moods. But the real danger is not in one day of failure. It's when that one day turns into a new habit of laziness. And here comes the golden rule: never miss twice. What does this rule mean? Simply, miss your workout on Tuesday, no problem. But don't miss it again on Wednesday, because the second miss is what starts a pattern of decline. The first miss is human. The second miss is the beginning of a reverse habit. Why is repetition more important than perfection? James says, habits are built through repetition, not perfection. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be consistent, even if imperfectly. Here lies the beautiful paradox. The most successful people don't always follow their habits, but they never fail 2 days in a row. Mind, I'm a consistent person versus I've failed. When you miss a habit, don't say, it's over, I've ruined the system. Say instead, it's just one day, I'll get back on track tomorrow. What you've built over months shouldn't be destroyed by one bad day. Tools to help you stick to the rule. 1. Keep tracking the habit. A visual calendar helps you spot the missed day and fix it quickly. 2. Prepare flexible alternatives. If you can't do the full habit, do a mini version of it. Instead of 30 minutes of exercise, do 5 minutes of light movement. Instead of reading a full chapter, read 2 pages. Instead of writing 500 words, write 50. Do the minimum. What matters is keeping the streak alive. 3. Forgive yourself quickly. Don't punish yourself mentally. Don't spiral into guilt or self-blame. Use the stumble as fuel for course correction. This rule is more powerful than you think. It not only helps you bounce back after a slip, it prevents you from drowning in a chain of excuses. Think of it this way. Successful people don't avoid mistakes. They just recover faster. Chapter summary. It's normal to miss a habit for a day. The real problem is repeating the miss. The never miss twice rule is your shield against collapse. Repetition is more important than perfection. Maintain momentum even with small actions. And with that, we near the end of our journey through the world of habits.
Chapter 17. How to know when to stick with habits and when to change them. In this chapter, James Clear transitions from building habits to refining them and answers the crucial question: what should you do after a habit is established? Keep it the same or evolve it? This chapter explains the difference between sticking with a habit just for the sake of it versus smart growth that keeps the habit alive and engaging. Vro. 1. Boredom, the #1 threat to habits. The author surprises us with a powerful truth. Successful people don't feel motivated every day. The difference between successful and unsuccessful people: successful people keep going even when they're bored. And here comes a golden rule: mastery requires practice, but not just any practice. It requires deliberate practice, repetition with reflection and adjustment. Success equals doing the right thing again and again, even when it's no longer exciting. Asterisk. Vro. 2. Should you keep a habit as it is or improve it? James suggests we regularly review our habits and ask, is this habit still serving me? Does it need to be adjusted? Should I add a challenge to make it more engaging? Vro. Good habits often start simple, but should evolve over time. Like a professional athlete, they don't keep training the same way for 10 years. They refine their methods to grow stronger and better. Asterisk. Row. 3. The mastery loop. How to evolve a habit without losing it. James introduces what he calls the mastery loop, which includes: start small, make it obvious and easy. Begin with a simple, manageable version of the habit. Vro. Refinement. Once the habit is stable, add a small challenge. Vro. Reflection. Review your progress regularly. Is it working? Stalling? Boring? Vro. Adjustment. Change the method or intensity as needed. In this way, the habit remains effective, inspiring, and fresh. Vro. A practical example. Let's say your habit is read 10 pages a day. Keep it up for a few weeks, then increase it to 15 pages. Then move to more difficult books. Then start writing reflections on what you've read. In this way, the habit evolves, and you evolve with it. Vro. 4. Maintain balance. Don't burn yourself out. The author warns of another trap. The drive to improve can become a form of mental strain. Growth is good, but in moderation. If the habit starts to feel exhausting, maybe you're making it too complex. Vro. Rule of thumb. Develop a habit that fits your life. Don't punish yourself with it. Vro. 5. Return to the basics when necessary. If a habit begins to feel too heavy or boring, go back to your original intention. Why did you start this habit? The first version of it. Can you return to its simpler form for a while? Sometimes taking a step back helps you move 10 steps forward. Vro. Chapter summary. Boredom is inevitable, but consistency is the key to success. Regularly review your habits and adjust them wisely. Don't raise the bar too fast, but don't keep it too low either. Reflection, then evolution. This is how habits are polished. Be flexible and return to simplicity when needed. And with this, our journey through atomic habits comes to an end. From a small habit to a powerful transformation to an entirely different life.
Conclusion. The secret to results that last. Mastery through habits. How to keep going after success.
After you've built your habits and achieved small goals, comes the most important and most difficult phase. How do you keep going? How do you maintain success? And how do you move from getting results to true mastery? Here, James Clear offers the ultimate insight of his experience, revealing what lies beyond habits. Not just to build a better life, but to sustain and evolve it endlessly. Success is not the finish line, it's the starting point. Most people think success is the end, but James makes it clear, true success is what happens after you hit the goal. Temporary success equals achieving a result once. Lasting success equals transforming the result into a way of life. So he asks, when you get a positive result, don't stop. Instead, ask, how can I make this normal? How do I keep it alive? Mastery comes not from motivation, but from consistency. At first, everything feels exciting, a new habit, motivation, energy, momentum. But over time, routine sets in, boredom creeps in. This is when the true pros are separated from the rest. Professionals stick to the schedule, even when they don't feel like it. Big success doesn't come from occasional heroic effort, but from persisting with the basics for a very long time. How to move from good habits to lasting mastery. Maintain continuous review. Check your habits weekly or monthly. Are they still working? Can they be improved? Is there anything to remove or enhance? Vary the intensity, but not the consistency. Maybe you won't read 30 pages today. Read 5. Maybe not a full workout. Move for 10 minutes. The key, never break the chain. Reconnect the habit to your identity. Always remind yourself, why did I start? Who do I want to become? What does this habit represent in my life? Habits built on identity last far longer than habits built on goals. The secret to lasting results equals flexible system, clear identity, and ongoing improvement. Flexible system, your habits should fit your life. Clear identity, your habits should express who you are. Ongoing improvement, continuous refinement keeps you engaged. Final words, small habits make a big life. In the end, James Clear writes, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. You are not the sum of your dreams. You are the sum of your habits. And if you can take control of your habits, you can take control of your future. And that brings us to the end of Atomic Habits, a book that has changed the lives of millions, and it can change yours too, if you start today with just one small habit. So start now, even with a tiny step, because every big change once began as a small habit.
Every great mind starts with a single page, and you've just turned one. If this chapter's moved you, imagine what's coming next. Subscribe, hit the bell, and unlock the next idea. Keep listening. Keep growing.